He was working on a device that was intended to communicate or capture spirit communication, which he had published in Scientific American, that he believed that he could build a machine sensitive enough to carry or capture voices of us after we've died, after our mortal coil has been destroyed, has died. And my personal background is I've got undergraduate degrees, master's degrees in communication theory from Purdue University, Governor State University, American University in Cairo, University of Notre Dame, and Governor State University as well. And so what I want to do is I want to talk about a little bit about what electronic voice phenomena is and its origin, and then I'll show you some examples so you have an idea of what we're listening for and what exactly it is. Some of my better examples, some clearer pieces. I've been doing this for 7 years now, roughly. I got into it from building computers from scratch, and I started working with sound and extreme frequency levels, ran into some research on this phenomenon, and tried it myself, and the results were phenomenal. I was hooked. So I started to do it constantly, and I've been doing it actively, very actively for 7 years. I've been to hundreds of locations all around the world. I've done recordings and gotten empirical data. Since the time that we've been able to record, since the time man has been able to capture the sounds of human voices, he's noticed that occasionally he's been able to capture voices of unknown origin, or voices of people or persons that were not in the area or location when he was recording. This includes 1902, Vladimir Bargosas on a joint Siberian, or rather joint Russian-American expedition to Siberia. It was an ethnographic expedition put on by the United States with Russia from the National Science Museum, which is the federal museum in America. And they were recording folk songs and what have you from local tribes in northern Alaska and Siberia, including the Chukchi. And this particular tribe of natives had certain folk songs and rituals that they would perform, and he was recording alone in a village without any of the rest of his team in a hut where a Chukchi shaman or religious person was doing a drum exercise, if you will, or event to communicate with the spirits of the elders, to raise spirits of the elders. And he recorded these on Edison wax cylinder phonographs. And when he captured these on playback, he heard voices in Russian and in English, and female voices. There were females present in the village where he was working. And he put the results out in a paper and got ridiculed, of course. And it seriously hurt his reputation to the point when the Soviet Union, when the October Revolution happened, and people were being deported to Siberia. He was one of them. So he got exiled to Siberia for his findings. Since then, through the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, different types of recording devices and different people. Anton von Strelacki in the 30s captured these voices on recordings he was making of opera. Okay, in electronic voice phenomena, we don't actually only capture voices, but it's also possible to capture sounds of animals, screaming, crying, wailing, singing, laughter, and of course voices. A couple of them I will start off with. We were recording in a house in Atchison that's known to have horrible hauntings where people very often been physically attacked, scratched, and burnt. Items caught on fire. There was a rose that caught on fire, but the outer leaves were not burnt at all. It was only singed from the inside of the rose that was sitting in the kitchen. A teddy bear had spun around. Just really quickly, a family moved into this house. They had a brand new baby. The first thing they noticed that something was wrong was the light in the nursery would go on and off. And they went up one time to turn off the light and found all the teddy bears that were on the shelves circled in the middle of the floor with one teddy bear in the middle. And they thought someone was playing with them in the family, messing around, so they put the teddy bears back up, turned off the light, started to walk downstairs, the light went back on, they turned around, went up, the teddy bears were in a circle. Again. They thought it was maybe the husband's brother messing with them or something, so they looked through the house and no one was there. That same brother they thought was messing with them because he's kind of a comic. Him and the husband were sitting one day watching TV and talking about this, and a teddy bear was sitting over by a stuffed animal sitting by the television, and he had brought a camera with him, and he said, you know, oh, if you're really here, make the bear move. And after a bit, the bear started spinning around in a circle, and then he had photographs of this bear just blurry, spinning. Also, a bear that had been sitting on the stairs. At one point, flames started shooting out of its head. I had, for a while, I had a doll that they had that had gotten burnt, caught on fire, gotten burnt. After a while, Tony, the husband, and Deborah, the wife, tried to leave. They thought, okay, everybody go stay with mom for a bit. And Tony felt like he got stung by a bee or something when they were moving the kids out. And when they got there, he's like, this really hurt. So she lifted up his shirt and he had 3 long scratches down his back. Okay. They couldn't really afford to move, so they stayed in the house probably a total of about a year or so. And he constantly gets scratched up and had horrible nightmares of a woman threatening him. A dresser spun around, and at one point he couldn't get out of the door of his bedroom. So there was only a door, and he got shoved to the point where he almost got flipped over the stairs. And at that point, they decided to leave. I've done about 15 investigations in that house with him, and I've witnessed scratches forming on his arms and bleeding, and they would immediately coagulate, and within 3 days they were gone. This album here that I've done, called The Sally House, he took the photographs with my camera. We were doing some investigations, and you'll see anomalies in pictures. I've got another one, we'll pass up the pictures, but he took the photographs on this. And many psychics and television shows came to film it, including one in the early 90s called Sightings. And they took, had us in a chair, hooked him up with all kinds of EKG machines and stuff, and a camera placed on him. And literally, for 24-hour vigil, filmed him, and scratches would form on him, and the producer would be like, I can't believe this, I'm sitting right here, these scratches weren't here, now they are. And he was sitting right there. And they had the whole thing filmed, and after the show aired, they did a couple of airings of the show, and the producer quit. He quit television altogether. Took a desk job. It affected him to the point where he couldn't deal with it. But the first picture you'll see is an apparition. At the top of the stairs, there's where the nursery was. Top of the stairs, you'll see a image. This is a picture here on the inside of a blue cloth we put over the windows, and there's a closet here, and you can see this anomaly here. And in the back, I was running an experiment with a TV signal as a chair in the closet, and you'll notice that everything is in perfect focus except the chair, and the chair, as you'll see, but the chair was a straight back chair like this. It wasn't curved like that. So what I'll do is I'll get and pass this around where we play the EVPs. These are some of the EVPs captured at that house, at that particular location. I've done, like I said, hundreds of locations. Each one gets a case file. This is just one of the locations. This is a female singing an arpeggio. So there was no outstanding, there's no electricity in the building whatsoever, and only one table, a few chairs, and a love seat. Now, one of the things that are interesting about audio evidence that you would find in like your visual evidence is we get a lot more information from audio than we can visual. What we can get is we can get age, socioeconomic class, education, where the person might be from in the world or in the States. So you get dialect, you get emotions, anger, happiness, fear, what have you. As you can tell, if you listen, it sounds like she has a slight Irish brogue to her. It's a female, obviously, and she sounds rather young. Okay, the same lady, a little later, we captured, or I captured another one, where she says, the blue and the gold will catch the light. And then you'll hear this thing go, say, which I'm not quite sure about. It's just a lot of fun. This is killing me. Again, you can tell just from the quality, vocal quality of her voice, that it's the same woman as the one that was humming a bit ago. I've done a lot of research with speech pathologists. It's a very interdisciplinary field of study. History, psychology, physiology, biophysiology, quantum physics, linguistics, communications. It really covers a history. It covers a huge scope of different fields of study, which is very interesting, and it keeps it very interesting. So I'll play her again real quick. Now remember, this is too loud. Is it too loud?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, good. Were we on track too?
Yeah.
Okay, and again, there were no females at the time in the location that I was recording. And I tend to use cheaper recorders because when you buy a more expensive recorder, what you're paying for is you're paying for noise reduction. And what we are is we're anti-sound engineers. Our signal is in the hiss. Where a sound engineer, typical sound engineer, say that's noise. We say no, that's our signal. And anything that would normally be signal to them is really just noise to us, so we have to work around that. Sometimes the voices aren't so nice. Another one captured there. So the first one is very whispery. We'll meet you in hell. It almost sounds like hiss, but it's built into the hiss. And the other one's a very good whisper, says meet in hell.